I'm being asked to wrap up, so I want to start with Michael on the end, so her sort of his last word, and that means you will have the last word, and it better be more than one.
Okay.
Well,
I guess
we're going to start down.
We're going to start down there. Okay.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead.
So eager.
I know.
To say yes again.
Yes. Michael.
I know the last word. I think that last topic was actually one that we've experienced in the music industry, and I experienced as a music publisher. You're part of an ecosystem that's really humming because you've got this huge audience that's buzzing about it, but they're not necessarily watching the thing that drives the monetization. And so that is really, that's the huge thing. You have to manage the transition from the digital dollars to the analog dollars to the digital dimes, and that's easy. That's hard enough to do, but it's easy to do if the dollars go to dimes through the one channel. But if the dimes appear in another channel that the people laying out the dollars to make the thing don't participate in, it's a huge disconnect.
Say that again, because it's important, but it's complex.
If the dimes that come from digital appear over here, and yet the people putting up the dollars to make the thing are over here, and they don't connect, then how do you manage the transition, from dollars to dimes?
Right.
Eventually,
really that will run out of cash.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are really big issues, and I think that as a content creator, your only defense to make it through the transition is to understand that the likelihood of the cost pressures on the production costs that you have are going to be a factor of 10. And if you can figure out how to make your stuff for 1/10 of what you used to make it for, then you have a really serious chance of surviving through it.
Wow. Chris, on that happy note.
Yeah. I'm going to get emotional here. No, but I think the themes that underline a lot of this is collaboration within an organization for multiple departments to be thinking about what their kind of mutual ground and mutual interests are. And that comes from an artist and their collaborators and their audience. So as if a band can rally up 500 people to come out for a night and a show, the more that they can translate that goodwill into support of however they do it, right? I mean, you were mentioning, who is it that has the podcast, that Adam Carolla's podcast?
No, I don't listen to that. No, I think Mark Maron's podcast is a tremendous example of, out of nowhere and becoming a very important sort of cultural thing.
So that kind of creativity that bubbles up, the relationship to an audience with that creativity, and then working with different organizations, be it big ones like ours, or the new app development studio that opened up down the street. I think the more we can all kind of align each other's objectives and have a more seamless process for working with one another is
that sounds
really
like
the
what
goal.
Michael said. I mean, but he was fairly blunt. He said aligning those processes to ensure that the revenues flow to the creators and that there are no sort of gaps there, so that whatever revenues happen do come back to the source for creation. I mean, about right?
So, I'm from Rogers Media, and I'm from the digital side, so I'm also one of the disruptors. When I'm asked what's the future of television, or what's the future of radio, or what's the future of magazines, my answer is very simple. The future of television is television. The future of magazines is magazines, and the future of radio is radio. Digital will disrupt. Digital we will answer the demands of audiences, but it's going to augment, as Trevor mentioned. The usage of media is now multiple platforms at once. There still needs to be great storytelling on all these platforms. So whether you be a content creator here, or whether you're part of a funding arm, the storytelling needs to continue, and quality storytelling will resonate with Canadians. It's how we're going to compete with the international market. It's how we're going to be able to have the ecosystem. So the storytelling continues. That's all I would say.
Interesting. And before I do give Trevor the last word, I have to say you do win the award for, not only multitasking, but multitasking during this panel.
I was just going to ask, how many other people second screen during the panel?
It's okay. You can admit it.
We're doing it during broadcast too, and I didn't tweet anything. I was going to, but I knew others were doing that. We started talking about user experience, and probably a good place to end, and how complicated it is for all of us. I was a judge in a panel recently, a Canadian contest giving out awards to producers, And I was given, all the materials were sent in this really neat way, and I pulled them up on my iPad, and not a single one worked. 2 of the websites mentioned today, I pulled them up on my iPad because I was second screening.
Are you going to give them the bad news?
No.
Okay.
They didn't work. They didn't work. So we're early days. If this is the most important screen real estate of a generation, if I'm right about that, I don't know. If some other people in the room agreed with that. We've got some work to do. It's early days, and so there's lots of disruption to happen, and I hope the focus on user experience is really going to pay off, because we're getting a bunch of producers, a bunch of content creators, a bunch of storytellers, a bunch of broadcasters, a bunch of rallied around this concept, and it's hard work. It's hard work. So I think it's going to pay off. I know it's going to pay off for Adrian Grenier. I hope it's going to pay off for some of you in the audience they're going to play this through too.
Cool. And I will steal the last word. I want to thank everybody today, especially Karen and the OMDC, and for participating and for asking really good questions. So thank you guys.